Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Wind Waker Unflooded, a 3D modeling fan art project where I am bringing to life the Kingdom of Hyrule within the world and art style of the Legend of Zelda, the Wind Waker. Welcome to a new video. So I'm really excited about today's video as always, y'all know me. The fact is, you can't stop my enthusiasm. I don't know if there's any haters out there, but just a quick message to all the haters. Is that I'm having a good time. I'm enthusiastic. This project gives me energy, and you'll never take away my joy and whimsy. I don't know, man. I'm losing my mind. Everyone, thank you all for watching. If there's any new viewers, y'all know what this project's about. If you played Wind Waker, you know that all the islands of the Great Sea are really the mountaintops of Hyrule, but we never really get to see what's under those mountaintops. So this project is all about bringing that world to life. So now, I guess here's the thing. There's a to let the cat out of the bag. Is that the expression I'm trying to use? There's an idiom I'm trying to use. This message. Excuse me. This video is going terribly so far. Y'all, I'm gonna save it. We're doing Lookout Landing today, so I know that's gonna be controversial. But here's the facts. Obviously, this is not, quote unquote, the same Lookout Landing from Tears of the Kingdom. This is a fort, within the world of the Wind Waker that will bear some resemblance to Tears of the Kingdom's Lookout Landing. And of course, if you can play that game with a Tenno village if you want to as well and stuff like that. And I'm okay with that. You don't have to say absolutely that it is the same exact location, but it is it is something in the world that is reminiscent of that location. And I can play that game. This is Zelda we're talking about. It plays that game all the time. It is literally a game. But but I guess all this to say is I definitely, I'm aware that I get comments every now and then from people that are still very resistant to the idea of bringing in locations that really just don't make sense lore wise. And I want to be careful about the lore. Something like a Tenno village, I think it could have existed off screen during Ocarina of Time, for instance. But Lookout Landing, obviously, did not. But I guess, to me, functionally, it makes sense that during this time period, that there could be a fort like Lookout Landing. And so that's where we're at today, is building a fort that is, of course, this world takes place, it's called Wind Waker Unflooded, but it's not draining the ocean. What it is, my intention, at least most of the time, is to show that this is the world of Hyrule right before the Great Flood. So, of course, from the prologue of the Wind Waker, that Ganondorf has returned again, and is about to lay waste to the Kingdom of Hyrule. And so this happens right before Ganondorf is sealed away again with the Flood. So he would have already grown in power, as would the kingdom. And so now we're kind of in the middle of this second war after the events of Ocarina of Time. And inevitably Ganon will win. But I think that all that suggests that that there could be, there could be place for a new fort like Lookout Landing, where there can be a remote base for people to keep tabs on the castle in case the castle is taken over, which we know from the events of the Wind Waker itself. We know that the castle is invaded, that monsters do breach its walls. That is literally stated and shown in game, which is crazy. That's what I love about Wind Waker. But anyway, we'll get more into that after the break. I think it's time for a short message, so I'll talk to all of you again after the break.
If you want to be able to support me as a creator, there's several ways that you can do that. Become a member on Patreon. It gives you access to exclusive bonus features and early access content in all of my filmmaking projects. Stuff like early access to scripts that I'm writing, storyboards, previs, rough cuts, and music that I compose. I'm a composer, and any music that you've heard in the background of this video was my music. So go to Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to music and type in Joe Kendrick. That's JoeKendrick. Look up Joe Kendrick on Spotify.
And we're back. Yeah. As always, I just have to let you know how you can support me, because I don't make any ad revenue on this channel. If you saw an ad on the video, YouTube put it on the video. They put ads on their videos. And that doesn't necessarily mean the creator is making money. I don't think it'd be right to monetize this project. So this project is completely not monetized for me. So if you want to be able to support me as a creator, any way that you can do that is greatly appreciated. But yeah, I mean, as I was saying, like it almost goes without saying a lot of the time, but I'm always so impressed by, this is what inspired this project to begin with, is the fact that so much of the Wind Waker itself, it shows more than just the world that you're in at that time. Just by the nature of its world, gives you a glimpse into so much more history. And that's kind of what the game's about, is like, there's something that you see on the surface, but there's so much below it that is hinted at. And that's why I think this project is possible, because there's so much that the game designers and writers and, and 3D modelers, there's so much that they took into account, even if they weren't actually going to show you the entire world of Hyrule. There was things that they thought about that is clear through the game. They thought about the history. They thought about the world of Hyrule in the lead up to Ganon's rise. There's all these little things that they thought about, and it shows. And I want to honor that, and I want to think of more ways to show all the connective tissue. And it's not just me figuring out things on my own, because there is a lot of creativity that is part of the Wind Waker Unflooded. And, I want to acknowledge that there's things where it comes down to, I'm not just extrapolating from the models in order to create a world. I'm thinking creatively, what would Hyrule look like during this time period, and extrapolating from that and using my own creative decisions and my own inspirations to add to that world. And I think that that's okay. But I do want to do it in the spirit of the game and show only what the game suggests. Or show what is inspired by it. I don't know. I don't want to limit myself, but these are all things that I think about, right? There's different philosophies that I have when approaching this project, and I want to honor what the game shows first. But also I'm okay with adding my own flavor and kind of going beyond that. I'm totally cool with that. So I don't know. I like this fort, how it's turning out. I really like how big the telescope is. I'm really happy with Lookout Landing, and I don't know. I had a lot of fun modeling it. It was a pretty simple build overall, but I do think it speaks to the history, and it speaks to the functionality of the location, and that always excites me. Locations that help tell a story. So comment down below if you have any other ideas of locations that you want to see within the world of the Wind Waker, or just anything that you think makes sense within its time period, like I said, that you think would help show this history of Hyrule, show the events of this war between Ganon and Hyrule that, eventually Hyrule will lose. If there's any ideas you have of how to help tell that story through the modeling of the world, I'd love to hear your ideas. So comment down below any ideas, positive, negative feedback that you have. Y'all, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. So without further ado, I'll let you go.